look, I understand going back to back is extremely difficult, but when they've brought in the type of players that they have, I think it's to go after multiple titles this season.
Let's start today with the Premier League. The Premier League starts this weekend, so let's give our season predictions, which is why it is today's top topic, presented by Buchanan's Blended Scotch Whiskey, an official FIFA World Cup 26 supporter. Nos vamos al Mundial with a Bucanita on hand. All right.
This is the top topic.
So, I'm excited about this Premier League. The Premier League Summer Series has hyped me up sufficiently enough. Like I think for the American audience, the American fans, if you got the chance to go to a game and watch these teams play, you're like immediately, all right. That's it. A trigger happens, and you're like, okay, sure. I'm supposed to. This is when I'm supposed to get excited. And now, my team, Everton, not necessarily the same caliber or level of signings as Liverpool, but
I still can't really believe all the signings they made. We'll get into that in a second. Yeah.
Also, shout out to the Premier League and EA. Go to my ISO, Carter, if you don't mind, because they sent us the what? Not even sent us. I just grabbed the Premier League ball.
You took one. Nobody even knew you were doing it.
No. I did ask. So I just want to make that clear. But shout out that is the 25-26 Premier League ball that I have
pretty sweet.
behind me. But let's just get some predictions out of the way. So, as far as top four, you are a visitor in our household. So please give us your top four in the Premier League this season.
No shock. I'm going to go with Liverpool to win again. Look, I understand going back to back is extremely difficult, but when they've brought in the type of players that they have, I think it's to go after multiple titles this season.
Sure.
And yeah, there'll be a learning curve, but I do think that there's enough there to be able to repeat. Defensively, I do want them to make a couple of adjustments. I think that'll be better. Midfield, the change of formation. There are some challenges. I still think they're the best side, top to bottom, in the Premier League. So I'm going for Liverpool to win.
Even though they lost the Community Shield.
It's
bro, not a great start.
Let me ask you a question. It's a stupid trophy anyway, right? And now if they would have won, I would have been like, oh, it's a glorious trophy. It's a very important and prestigious one. But they lost, so we can say it's a stupid trophy. Look, I do think that that was almost a wake-up call, in my opinion. To go real quick through the other top four. So I'm going Liverpool to win. Chelsea, second. Man City, third. Arsenal, fourth. Those are my top four. Chelsea, I think, is going to have a fantastic season. I think they will be fighting for the Premier League. I think they will be fighting by the end of the season, even maybe in the Champions League as well. I think this is a very deep side that has so many options, and I feel like they're ready to make the next step. Man City, they're going to come back and have a great season. I don't think it's going to be as bad as they were last year. They will win something this year. Okay. I'm not sure what they'll win, but I do think that Pep's not going to let this go down the drain, down the toilet again. And I think that they have had enough signings that have come in to kind of replace some of the players that have left the club, like Jack Grealish and some others as well. And I think Arsenal, I think a lot of people are picking Arsenal to win the Premier League. I'm just asking, have they done enough? Is Victor Gyökeres the guy who's going to finally score 25 goals in a season for Arsenal? You know the last guy that scored 25 goals in a season for Arsenal? Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. That's how long that it's been without a 25-goal scorer in a season. I don't know if Victor Gyökeres is going to be that guy. If he is, then I may be wrong about my prediction. But as of now, I still don't think that they've done enough to push them forward and be a better team than Liverpool or even Chelsea with how deep they are now.
I'll say, as far as the responding to the Arsenal stuff, I think the only reason Arsenal, I didn't think they were going to win the league last season, but I think the reason it wasn't closer is because Odegaard got injured in that international break, missed 2 months, 2.5 months. Sure. And I think that was like the big difference. They were losing games that they really should have won. And again, the margins for error are so small, especially with the team as dominant as Liverpool. So that's probably why I think fourth seems a little bit low for Arsenal, because I think they're basically the same exact team. But I
think all the other teams got better.
I agree.
And I don't know how much better Arsenal got.
So my top four: Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. maybe there's some recency bias, and I went to go see Chelsea play in the Club World Cup. They were very good. João Pedro, I think, is a fantastic addition to that team. It looks like they're probably getting rid of Nico Jackson soon, which Cole Palmer's gonna love that. He doesn't have to scream at him anymore on the pitch. But I think Chelsea is probably going to be a bit of a surprise. I'm picking them to win. Like Todd Bowley and they've all done, and just signing all these players, and it just seemed like it was a mess and wouldn't make sense, and nobody can remember anybody's name or whatever. And then they just find a way to make it. They're a really good team, and I think solid enough to challenge for the title, and I think they can win it. So I think Arsenal say Liverpool. I think they could stumble only in that they did make a lot of changes. Yes. My predictions could change if in any minute now Alexander Isak decides to go to Liverpool and they make that happen. But as of right now, I don't think they could win it. All right, let's. So as far as champion, you have Liverpool and you're wearing that shirt, and there's clearly a lot of delusional bias. But okay, fair. So I have Chelsea, and I would like I just want some changes at the top of the table. I mean, that's really
look. I'm with you with Chelsea. I think that Chelsea they are so deep. They have so many attacking players, and they have Cole Palmer, who might be the best player this season in the Premier League. So I do think that Chelsea will be fighting on all fronts. They very well could win the Premier League. I do think that, and that, as much as it pains me to say, because forget the fact that I'm a Liverpool fan, my friends that are Chelsea fans are probably the most annoying Premier League fans that I know. Sorry, Chelsea fans. But they have a good team this year, and they have so many options that if players get injured, they have another guy who can step in and be just as good at basically every position. Maybe not at goalkeeper. I think that's the biggest concern for me for Chelsea is goalkeeper.
When we went to the game, we were in whatever, like one of the VIP sections or whatever, and Alexis saw there was a lady with a Maresca jersey, and was like, "Who the hell is it?" And he's like, "That's probably his wife." And then he went up to Enzo Maresca's wife and said. Which is such a strange sentence to say.
Such an Alexis thing to do.
He said something along the lines of, I'm an Arsenal fan, but your husband is like a great coach or something like that. And she could care less.
She's like, I don't care what you have to think about my husband.
Why? I don't need to talk to you. Such a strange thing. Anyway, look, I do think Chelsea are going to win the Premier League title, but I know you're going to win if you hit the like button right now. So they have that as far as Chelsea having a good chance this season. FA Cup champion. I said Liverpool because they missed out on obviously they won the league, but they missed out on winning a couple other trophies. And I think because they are of the roster they have and the depth that they have, I think they can win up a domestic trophy at the very least the FA Cup. So you have
Aston Villa, and I'll explain why. The FA Cup usually ends up working out to be the one competition that some of the major clubs will rotate. Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, all these teams in the Champions League. The one cup I think that usually ends up on the wayside is the FA Cup. I'm going to go with Aston Villa because they have been on the rise now for a while. They kept this team pretty much together for the most part. Every major piece is still there. Morgan Rogers, I think, is going to be a star. Ollie Watkins, I think, will have a big season as well. I think this is their chance to lift a trophy for the first time in quite some time again, and to come back into, they get into the Europa League, so they're not in the Champions League. Obviously, that'll still play a part, but I think that they'll go heavy after the domestic cup competitions. They want to give their fans a trophy. They want to give their fans kind of something to get them, to give a little more meaning to this latest run for them, right? The last few years. And I like Villa to go out there and win a trophy.
Okay. I mean, we saw Carabao Cup. I have Chelsea. You have Manchester City. And I just mentioned, as far as that, what it means to fans, when we saw what Carabao Cup meant to Newcastle. Like
That's different, right? First in 70 years.
Right. It means more when your team is ass, right? And you don't don't win anything.
100%.
If Everton won a participation medal, I'd be like, yo, we did it.
We did it. We got it. I mean, yeah, like what would it mean? I mean, what would it mean for Everton to win one of these cups?
It'd be tremendous.
It'd
Yeah,
be
I mean, and it's something. It is a like Carabao Cup, FA Cup. I mean, for Crystal Palace, you saw again, how much it meant, but it does. It's nice when the Premier League champion that are sort of the same rotating 4 or 5 teams, when it's somebody else that wins it, from a business perspective, it's how you just keep your customers happy. Like if we're just thinking about dollars and cents, it's like they've been supportive. The supporters have been here for so long, and in American sports, it's just there is no other trophy. You're the Jets, right? You just lose all the time, and you just have to come to terms with losing over and over. But in Premier League football and just England, the EFL, you have opportunities to win these other things just to make it easier to wake up the next day.
100%. No, and it gives a fan. I mean, like you said, look at the fans when Newcastle won, crying in the stands. Same with Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
that's what those competitions mean. Those are core memories, man, that these fans will have for the rest of their lives, being in those stands, crying when their team wins a trophy.
Like, I wish we could have more Leicester City moments of but those are just so hard because again,
that's what makes the Leicester one so incredible.
Right. And I've heard like now there's like a lot more. We started this is 10 years that we've been doing the show.
Wow.
And but when I remember in 2015, that 2015-2016 season, how and it was the first time we're doing the show, and it's just like I watch Premier League, yes, not as like dedicated as I do now, and I'm like, is this normal? That there's Leicester? I mean, I guess they're good, right? But then now there's like an interesting conspiracy around Leicester, and where people are talking about it as like that the higher ups, like the Premier League, doesn't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
Which it's just like a fun. Now we're in the conspiracy era of that, even that part of it, where the competition, where a team that was just recently promoted or whatever, that it almost hurts the business to have that kind of success. But I think for most fans, it's just like, oh wow, it's such a shock and such a surprise that it keeps you, could this happen again? And maybe that keeps you coming back to the league or something like that. So I don't know.
That's just because the big pockets don't want to keep losing money, right? They want the big clubs in there.
They're putting out these stories.
But from the story perspective, the Leicester thing is one of the most incredible titles we've seen in sports,
without a doubt.
When you're talking about the difference in just club valuation and how much they're spending, it is one of the best titles or most incredible titles we've ever seen.
And then, so relegation. Who's getting relegated? I'll go first. I got Leeds, Sunderland, and Wolves. And I think my reasoning here, the last 2 seasons, the 3 teams that went up went straight back down. I think we're going to have a little bit of a change here. So Wolves have been close. I mean, they've been close to the bottom of the table, but they've up by 10, 15 points. So it's just the 3 teams that have been promoted have just been really, really bad the last 2 seasons. Right. But I think Burnley might be able to stay up. You do not.
We're close on it. We both agree that Sunderland and Wolves are going down. But I'm going with Burnley to go down instead of Leeds. So I think we're pretty much on the opposite sides of this, because I think Leeds will score enough goals to stay in the league. I think they're a high-powered offense, and even in the Premier League, they're going to score goals. Burnley was the best defensive side in English football last year. Forget just their division. They were the best defensive side, but they couldn't score. Like a lot of 0-0 games, a lot of 1-0 where they score at the very end. I don't think they're going to be able to score on Premier League defenses. They haven't done enough in the transfer window to get proven goal scorers. So my whole thing is that I don't think they're going to score enough. That's plain and simple.
That's
fair. I think that they'll go down. Leeds will score just enough. And I'm talking Leeds going to get in. They'll be like 16.
You're right.
Maybe 17, but they'll barely get in, but they'll get in.
Well, Leeds' biggest mistake was letting go of Junior Firpo.
Obviously.
And they would have had a Dominican player in the Premier League. Firpo already played in the Premier League with Leeds when they were there 3 years ago, but he was representing Spain at the time, and he made
not the same.
Then he made
DR Firpo is different from Spain.
Yeah,
Firpo.
exactly, bro. So
I want to hear the difference in accents. Like when Firpo spoke Spanish when he was still Spain, and now he's like, oye, pero ¿qué lo que hay? ¿Qué lo que hay?
He just immediately switched. As soon as he files the FIFA switch, he's like, dímelo, hermano.
Dímelo,
hermano. He's like, nah, no, the lisp is gone, bro. Done with it. So Firpo ended up going back to Real Betis. It would have been cool to see him back in the Premier League. So we'll have to wait for the first Dominican international to play in the Premier League. We've had a Cuban already, but soon.
We'll get there.
Hopefully soon. Okay. The surprise of the season. We both have the same one.
Yeah,
Everton.
And I have as a Liverpool supporter, I have Everton. It was a little icky to write that down, but
the surprise for you could be like, I'm surprised they got relegated. I didn't think they were gonna get relegated. The surprise to me is that they won the league, bro. I agree here. I think they, especially since the news about Jack Grealish just 2-3 days ago, is huge. It's Everton were playing the summer series. I got to hang out with some of the Everton staff as well, and it's interesting just seeing from a front office perspective. I'm just like gauging everybody's mood. I'm like, yeah, why y'all in a good mood? What? This isn't what I'm used to. But I think that happens in any preseason because obviously it's like a new beginning. But these signings have been pretty good. So, but Jack Grealish, and we can get into that because I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it just when any like a player of note. I mean, he went to Manchester City from Villa for $100 million or pounds or whatever. And so they clearly can assess the talent. They know the talent is there, and we've seen it. His first season at Man City, he really didn't do much. That second season, he was really much a part of that Premier League winning side. And then now he's just sort of fallen out of favor for who's on the left wing, the Belgian guy. Why am I forgetting his name? Doku. Sorry. But Grealish. So I was very critical of him while he was having that poor run of form in City because I just felt like he wasn't impacting games how he used to. But the thing I'm excited about, so I can criticize him as a Man City player, as an Everton player. I'm like, this guy is gonna be the greatest player that we've ever had, mainly because he is impossible to take the ball from. Him. He's not necessarily the greatest passer. He's not pinging balls all over the place, but he is just to me, he is just a solid. I don't even think of him as a winger. He's like a holding midfielder that I think is just so reliable to just control games, and that's. Even watching Everton this preseason, I'm like, the midfield is just like a little bit disjointed and making a little bit mistake. It's a little erratic, and that's what I think Jack really brings, just some calm to the midfield.
For sure. Look, I think there's no other way to look at it than the fact that since David Moyes arrived, there's only a couple teams that have more wins than Everton. He clearly built something. He clearly has a foundation. I think they have a much better attack and midfield than they did last season. And Ndiaye, I think, is going to be a really exciting player to watch. Jack Grealish, I think, can play as an 8, can play as a 10. I think with Manchester City, he had a couple of seasons where he was very good. When they won the Champions League that season, he was very good. Yeah. He was a very solid, important player for that side. But he was not a winger. He's not. He's more of a center midfielder, or even a 10, more of attacking midfielder as well. And I think that's where he'll be deployed with Everton. And I think that'll give him the freedom to kind of play that style. You got to remember, if you're not a Pep Guardiola player, man, you got to follow that structure. And if not, you're getting yelled at, like we saw in that documentary where he's just berating dudes. Yeah. And you'll be sitting on the bench. So I think that with David Moyes, he'll have a little bit more freedom to play his style of football. I think Everton can be, I think defensively they have a structure. I think my biggest question is at the number 9 position, but there's still 3 weeks in the transfer window. I think that this is a team that can clearly finish close to the middle of the table, 10th, maybe even like in the top half of the table. I think Everton can do it with this side and with David Moyes being able to pull the strings.
Okay. Dude, yeah. Any surprise, I would love to be surprised. I just don't. I don't want to not be surprised. That's
Yes.
really the main thing. It's like the fighting another relegation battle in this new stadium.
You
It
can't
just
handle this again.
I can't. No, enough. We've done enough. All right. Real quick, best player of the season. Who do you think is going to be?
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, I also said Cole
I
Palmer.
think he's going to ball out this year. I think he's going to take the next step. He'll have the consistency after winning the trophy this summer.
Yeah,
I think he's going to ball out this
he
year.
showed a different level of confidence, especially in that Club World Cup. And the last half of the season, the Premier League season, was like a little weird for him. He just really didn't contribute that much, and I think he's going to want to fix that very, very quickly. All right, best transfer this season so far. What do you got?
I'm going with Florian Wirtz. I believe that Florian Wirtz can be the best number 10 in the world. I do think he has that ability. He's only 22 years old.
Yeah.
People forget because he's been around now for a while and he won the league with Leverkusen. Deployed in Arne Slot's system as the number 10 with the options that he has around him. I think he's going to make a massive impact. The last couple of years, I mean, he has had over 30 goal contributions in back-to-back seasons in the Bundesliga, which is I would say just a notch under the Premier League. So I do think that Florian Wirtz will be the best signing of this season. Liverpool will be built around him moving forward after Mo Salah eventually leaves. And these couple of years, I think, are a bonus to have them both playing together.
I can't wait for the comments of everybody saying, just a notch under the Premier League? All right.
Love it. Bring it, because people don't watch the Bundesliga.
Let them know what
People don't watch the Bundesliga, man. I'm telling you.
Well, Derek Ray watches this
Yes, he
show,
does.
and he is upset with you.
That's not, I mean, come on. I'm thinking here that I'm like being nice to the Bundesliga.
No.
Just a notch.
I would say like La Liga fans would be like, just a notch. Like they would be
La Liga
like,
fans are going to argue about everything, man.
So-
You got 3 teams in that league.
all right. For me, I think a bit of a surprise. Maybe some. I think Ryan Cherky at Man City, he is at Lyon, he is a unique player. I think he's the next Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League. He's just, the guy is unbelievable with both feet. You can't even tell if he's a left-footed or right-footed
Right.
player.
Yeah, he's a
and
good player.
the first touch videos you've seen, and then even just watching him play, he's whether it's picking a ball out of the air, nutmegging people, making unbelievable passes. I think he's going to be incredibly impactful. So he's my best transfer. Biggest disappointment. What do you think is going to be the biggest disappointment this season?
I'm going to go with Newcastle United because I feel like they were on such a high, like what?
Couple
4 months ago.
Yeah.
They were on such a high, winning their first trophy in 70 years. And it's all just gone way wrong. Alexander Isak has likely played his last game. There was a shot of him scoring the goal in that cup game against Liverpool with his hands up in the air. He's like, he is the hero, the god of Newcastle. And now he's like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of here. And I want to go to Liverpool, the team I helped you beat.
Mhm.
So that whole situation is drama. They've missed out on so many signings, from Šeško to Ekitike to, I mean, you name it. If you go down the list and see all the players that they were linked to and
we
they
talked
were in
about
on,
it the other day.
it's rough. And I don't see them. There's not enough time for them to replace every guy they got to replace. They need 2 strikers. Callum Wilson's gone. He left on a free.
Mhm.
And now Isak wants to go. So not only do they need a striker to replace one of the best strikers in the league in Isak, they need to replace Wilson as well. It's all just gone wrong for them.
Yeah,
And they have Champions League,
Yeah,
which
it's going to be a lot.
at this point, I feel like they just want to make sure they don't get embarrassed in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really difficult
They
season.
got
for Newcastle.
Anthony Alongo, which I thought was
Good
a
signing.
good
Good signing.
pickup. Yeah.
Jacob Ramsey just came from Aston Villa as well. So they have replaced a little bit, but I mean, if you're
it's not enough. Yeah.
it's not. If you miss that and if you let go of Isak and don't really
Yeah.
bring
And-
any type of
And
replacement,
then when you compare and see what all the other teams doing, especially a team like Liverpool, it's just like, dude, I mean, we can't even get a third of like the quality of these signings.
and they have the money. It's not about the money.
Exactly.
It's about people
No.
not wanting to go to Newcastle.
Nobody wants to-
Unfortunately, yeah.
You don't want to live there, or is there's something going on? My biggest disappointment is going to be Manchester United again. I think I have no reason to think that there will be much improvement, even with the additions of Šeško and Bumo. Then they've made a couple decent signings, but I think their bigger issues are defensive. They should have probably prioritized getting like maybe a big name center back and things like that. And the one thing here is that their disappointment is also so entertaining for everyone else.
Everyone loves
it.
it. Sorry, United fans. Sorry.
So, I mean, look, I got to just applaud the Manchester United content creators for keeping the reality show that is Manchester United alive and going. So, yeah, I ain't mad.
I'll say this about United. They clearly didn't upgrade defensively, and that's a big issue because they were bad defensively last year. They also have to upgrade their midfield. They're trying to sign Carlos Baleba from Brighton. I think that'd be a huge signing for them in the midfield. They need it because they really haven't upgraded there. My one thing is that they don't have any other football. They have no European football, so they're not going to compete in the Premier League. But I feel like they can maybe sneak into a final in one of the cups, possibly, because all they have to focus on is the Premier League and those cups. So I think it'll be interesting to see, because they don't have anything else, like we saw last year with some clubs that didn't have European football or able to compete and look good in some moments. I think United can, but the defensive issues are still there. Sure. We're going to have to figure out a way to remedy that before the season.
Right. The one thing I did hear is that some Manchester United fans think that they should go for Donnarumma.
I think it's a great idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea either. And just because they're mad at every keeper that they've had the last the last 5-6 years. Even De Gea, his last year, they were very upset with some of the mistakes he made. But Donnarumma seems like.
Makes sense.
It seems like he might end up going to Man City. Or
I think a good shout for Donnarumma would be Chelsea.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's like they just won a trophy, but also PSG also just won a trophy. Right. So it's hard to say. All right. Let's take a quick break. We got to talk about the latest episode of Pulisic, the documentary series, because there's been a couple comments there that have caused a little bit of a stir. So we'll take a break and we'll come right back after this. All right, welcome back. Christian Pulisic and Tim Weah, they just fired back at their critics. We know who the critics are exactly, but in the latest episode of Pulisic. So let's run that back. And let's see if their reaction was warranted or was it soft?
I'd say the most annoying thing, and for me the biggest cop-out of all time, is when, especially, all pundits want to say, they didn't want it. They didn't have the heart. Back in our day, we would fight and we would die on that field.
When we were on the field, there were guys on the field, all over the field, who if they didn't perform well, their club team probably lost. But there's not a lot of guys who fall into that.
I think those guys are chasing checks, and for me, I just feel like they're really evil, honestly, because they've been players and they know what it's like when you're getting bashed, and those are the same guys that'll turn around and shake your hand and try to be friendly with you at the end of the day.
These guys want clicks. Social media, it's subscribe to my channels, listen to my podcasts, or whatever.
Don't get me wrong, I respect all of them. I mean, there were players that I looked up to, but quite frankly, the guys before us didn't win anything either.
So, so this clip is pretty fun. This is, I get excited about this kind of stuff because so we had Marcelo Balbo on the other day, and I asked him this specific question because he's been very vocal about the former players that are criticizing the current players. And it's not even to say that you can't criticize. So maybe that isn't the exact correct word, but there is maybe a harshness that I think some former players offer than others. And this is not just happening in soccer. This is happening in all sports. I mean, I think about my former coworker, Gilbert Arenas, when we were at Football Sports. Gilbert Arenas gets hammered for this all the time. He's like, yo, bro, this is beneath you. You shouldn't be talking like this. And you used to play. And for when I think of a person like Gilbert Arenas, I'm like, yes, chasing checks, chasing clicks and all that stuff. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. And if that's your approach, cool. But the interesting comment here is Tim Weah, especially saying that this is evil for former players to do this. So I've seen a couple of responses from players, former players. What are your thoughts when you hear this kind of stuff?
There's a lot to unpack. And I'll start by saying this: if you're in the content business and you're making content, if you're a pundit and you're making content, isn't the goal of that to get clicks, to have people watch that content.
Obviously, yeah.
Okay, so that's number one. That's their job.
Yeah.
Is to speak their mind and get people to watch it.
Mhm.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, do you think that if the ex-players in Spain, England,
Exactly.
Argentina, Brazil aren't criticizing their players, and it even goes to an insane level that we can't even imagine here in the United States
Yeah.
because all they live for is football, is soccer? Like, lose me with like, oh, it's, they're so evil. And I love Tim Weah, man.
Same here, yeah.
Love Tim Weah, but he's saying, oh, they're so evil, and then turns around and says, yeah, but I respect them.
Yeah, you can't be.
It can't be one or the other.
Sure,
all right?
sure.
And look, I'll say this, man. I understand. I get it. It's got to get under players' skin when they're questioning their will, questioning their want and their
heart.
desire, their
Yeah.
heart. I understand that. But your decisions in the past have put you in this position with this team. It was Pulisic, it was Weah, it was Weston McKennie that wanted to get Greg Berhalter back on this team.
Yeah.
They bring him back. Things did not go well.
Yeah.
And now they're in this position, and bringing in a new manager in the middle of the cycle has them playing with not a lot of confidence and not playing well. You're going to get criticized when you don't play well. The fact that they're taking all this time in this documentary to focus on the criticism from former players, we can mention their names. I mean, Landon Donovan, you saw in that clip, and other players as well. They're taking all this time to focus on that, not focusing on your football, not focusing on what you got to focus on, and this is taking up this much space in your head. That's a red flag already, and that's my opinion. And again, I get them, their will being challenged. That sucks for any player, but you haven't performed. The team has not played well, so what else do you expect them to say?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say here is that I respect Tim Weah for highlighting like that former players will criticize them, and he's like, oh, and then these are the guys that want to shake your hand and whatever. And so I can understand from an individual perspective of being like, I don't like what you said about me, so I ain't cool with you, right? Like that I get. That is like totally valid. But the concept of the industry of like it's evil. I'm like, I'm a US soccer sicko. I consume all the content around all the drama with USMNT, and I don't think anybody has said anything that's really gotten to a place where like, whoa, that was out of line. Like,
Agreed.
Sure, Landon is like critical of Pulisic skipping Gold Cup and questioning his desire and questioning the heart or whatever. But I think it's fair game to question it. He could be like, no, Landon, you're wrong. Or he could be like, yo, I don't f with you anymore. Or whatever. Like,
Right.
Set those boundaries if it's really bothering you that much. But to, be like, it's evil, and then nombre de Padre de Hijo, Espíritu Santo.
Yeah,
like
come on.
that's a little like too much, and it's an exaggeration for sure. But then this is the other part of working in the media industry as well. Even from my perspective, where I'm a comedian, and Tim Weah, we hosted an event with Tim Weah, and he couldn't be nothing.
I was
but
at the event.
Yeah,
That was great.
A
Yeah.
great dude.
Great dude.
And the reality is that as much as you may not like the podcast industry or the media industry and what everybody does and what everybody says, the reason the sport is where it is, and the reason it gets all the interest and attention and eyeballs, and the reason people, not that they wouldn't know Tim Weah, of course they would know Tim Weah, but the reason this media industry uplifts the sport. So it also, because and it's all connected with like sponsors and clicks and attention and money and then that inflates your wages, right? Because you are making more money because more people are interested in Juve, more people are interested in you and at Marseille and USMNT and everybody. So you think Marseille is not aware like that you're a USMNT player and they're now an American market is going to be more interested in watching our games?
Of course.
And they're going to pay you for that. Yeah. So you can be mad at it, but there is positives as well. Even the criticism brings a level of attention that has some value too. So again, not to say nobody should be saying terrible things to players,
Of course not.
but it's one of those things like I don't know what the agreement or the gentleman's agreement of what former players and current players sort of have. Because I said this to Marcelo, and I said this to Landon. Landon was on last month. You know, a lot of these guys grew up looking up to you, and now you're mad at them about something, and it's like, whoa, it's weird to have Landon Donovan think negatively of me.
Yeah,
but that's just
the business.
That's the business,
that's
right?
The business. I mean, yeah, I get it. I get it. It's tough, and like, if you're upset, you don't gotta shake their hand if they're going one. Because at the end of the day, Landon Donovan, he's a pundit, yes, but he's also a USMNT legend. He wants the USMNT to do well,
right?
So he's rooting for these guys. So it's not just because he's criticizing. That's just saying his opinion on what he's seeing in front of him. Just like you, just like me, just like we all do. We all saw his performances, so we can all criticize. But he still wants them to do well. It's not like he's wishing for their demise. That would be evil if he's wishing for this team to not do well.
Of course.
That would be evil. That's not what's going on.
I think we're in maybe it's a generational thing because, you know, maybe a lot of these, you know, these players, these kids, they grow up with the gentle parenting, Stefano. They want the former players to gentle parent them.
They don't get chocolatazos like we did when we were kids.
Okay, so this is a difference of a generational trauma that I think the former players are kind of passing down. They're like, nah, bro, this isn't how I was raised or whatever. But yeah, this is it. The Pulisic documentary isn't necessarily like bad. A lot of people think it's like self-indulgent and stuff like that. I watched this episode and I like that there was the fact that we're in a place like this of just like beefing and a little anger. It's like it might be toxic, but it really is showing where, like, we just had Marcelo Balbo on in the 1994 World Cup. They would do anything to get anybody to care about the sport. And now people care about the sport so much that they're getting mad at the players. So it's
a good thing.
So it's kind of a
good thing for the sport.
Again, it's a good thing for the sport, and I'll reiterate it's why you make the money you make. It's why you're getting the accolades, the fame. Those former players would have. They would have loved to be to be able to even play at some of these clubs and be on covers of magazines and do all this other stuff.
It's Weah, the Weah magazine with his dad.
Where his dad recreated.
I don't know if you guys talked about that. I'm sure you guys did.
We did.
Such a cool. They recreated just for you if you're not sure about it, and I'm sure we can.
We'll get the picture and post.
But it's Weah's father, George Weah, played for Marseille, had a magazine cover with the Marseille jersey. And as soon as Weah signed, he goes and he has the same magazine cover with the same old jersey pointing to Marseille. It's cool. It's a cool.
Right. So look, in conclusion, we want y'all to do well.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's quite clear. I try to have more fun with it than I think other podcasters, but ultimately it's like it is about success, and we want to see. I think as American soccer fans, we just want to be able to have our like friends who make fun of the fact that we like soccer stop doing that. And you are going to be the reason why that happens. So we want you to succeed.
Yeah, agreed. As a general rule too, everyone's just so mad about everything. Everyone just gets so upset about everything all the time.
Well,
and it's
Stefano,
just like,
there's so many things to be mad about.
Yes, true. Very true. You're right. But it's just like, man, like the reason I love coming on this podcast with you guys is because you don't take it as seriously, right?
Yeah,
because
we're trying to have
more fun. We're trying to have fun because there's a lot of serious going on in the world on a day-to-day basis. Let's have some fun when we talk about soccer, please.
Without a doubt, bro. All right. So we'll keep tuning in to Pulisic. Keep dropping gems. Even Pulisic's dad is in there being like, yo, Landon, I'm out. It's on site, bro.
I got some opinions on that, but I'll keep those to myself.
I think he physically threatened Landon Donovan. Brother, protective dad. All right. We got Rápido Reactions. We'll do that right after this. All right. Let's do some Rápido Reactions. We have 90 seconds to talk about each particular topic. Producer Carter will be tossing topics at us, so go for it.
All right, the first one, former Everton striker, Christian's boy, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, has reportedly agreed to deal with Leeds United. Your thoughts?
All right, he leaves on a free. This is the main thing here. I'm happy for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I hope his career goes well. he had an opportunity probably like 3 years ago. Arsenal wanted him. I think Manchester United wanted him. And he was like, I think he either said no or was trying to get he had an offer from Everton for a new deal, and I guess he wanted more money, and they couldn't come to terms or something like that. And but now he's at Leeds, and injuries the last 2 years just made it really difficult. But bro, I think this is one of those examples of like, if you got the offer, bet on yourself and just go for it. And he did not choose to do that.
No, he didn't do it. But I mean, for you, it's loyal to your club at least.
Right.
You know, at least you could spin it that way if it wasn't really that way. I think it's a good signing for Leeds, though. I think he's a proven goal scorer. If he can stay healthy, if he could score 10 plus goals for Leeds in the Premier League this season, that might be enough to keep them in the Premier League. That might be enough of a contribution, adding to an already pretty decent attack that Leeds had. I know it was in the Championship, but that will score goals this year. I think it's a good signing. It gives him a little bit of veteran presence, somebody who has a lot of experience in the Premier League. And like I said, if he can score 10 goals, that might be long enough and good enough to help Leeds stay in the Premier League, which is the only goal.
I can't understand the last 2 years. I mean, I understand he's dealing with some injuries, but it's just like, what happened? It's like losing your powers. Like he just was so
crazy,
ineffective. And I'm sure he played under Sean Dyche, and like there's nothing there as far as offense. So best of luck to DCL.
Yes.
All right, next, big one here. Gianluigi Donnarumma has already agreed personal terms with Manchester City. Seems like he's going to be headed there. Is this an upgrade over Ederson? Is this the missing piece for Man City?
So my first thought is, what happened at PSG? Like, what is he? Everything seemed fine just a couple of weeks ago, and now. And maybe this is one of those things of like when they're trying to push a player out because all these stories leak of like how problematic it is. I'm like, I can't necessarily believe it all. But the one thing about him going to Manchester City, I believe the Donnarumma's an amazing shot stopper, not really the best with his feet. Manchester City keepers need to be very good with their feet. I don't know if this is really the best place for him. What do you think?
I'm not really sure about it either. I mean, they just signed James Trafford to be like their next goalie after Ederson, right? And Ederson has not been the best shot stopper, but he's very good with his feet.
Yeah.
And this seems like the complete opposite. Look, Donnarumma is a hell of a keeper. I like you said, I don't really understand what happened with PSG. And again, he wasn't good with his feet, but did he really need to do that on a team like PSG with that much talent around him that they can handle playing out of the back without Donnarumma? Really? I really don't understand that Luis Enrique, the way he let him out too, like, saying he's one of the best keepers in the world, but I chose to go in a different direction. Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the best one for Man City, though. It's difficult for me to say because I think he's the best shot stopper in the world right now. Maybe Alisson is a close second, but I don't really see how this makes sense. And if you're James Trafford, you're like, I just signed to be the guy. And now you're going to bring in one of the best in the world who just won the Champions League?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really get it. I still think that a better landing spot would be Chelsea for Donnarumma, in my opinion.
Okay. I just want to see him in the Premier League.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
Facing Premier League talent. All
right, we've got some MLS drama. I'm going to let Christian explain this in detail, but essentially referee Tim Ford is under fire for his officiating in the Vancouver-San Jose game. Take it away, Christian.
Yeah, so over the weekend, Vancouver played San Jose. There was a few questionable penalty calls, just the decisions in general, which is and with MLS, some of the refereeing in general. I don't want to focus solely on pro, like they're the problem, but the issue here, which is sort of new to Major League Soccer, is that after this game, apparently a post from Tim Ford's wife was exposed or whatever, basically of them at an LAFC game, and saying that BMO Stadium is his happy place when he's watching soccer. So
yikes.
I don't know if he's necessarily an LAFC fan or anything, but obviously Vancouver lost this game 2-1, which favors LAFC in the Western Conference. So the fact that, again, all alleged, I don't know exactly. I'm not really quite. The only issue I have with some of the decisions is VAR got involved and he kept the decision. Which every time that happens, I'm like, all right, it's a little strange. But the fact that we even have this kind of drama of like, what team does this referee support? An MLS team, bro. We made it, dog. We out here. Now
we're a proper footballing nation.
Exactly.
Now.
This happens in the Premier League all the time. Like the ref can't, if they support a team, they can't even ref a certain game. And now we're getting some of that. Yeah. LAFC's existed for like 8 years, bro. And he's a diehard. Desde la cuna.
Desde la cuna at BMO Field. I love it. I think the drama, the chaos and the drama. You don't want to have anything that's a little shady around the game, but we know that there's a lot of shadiness around the game. But like you said, we've made it as a footballing nation when we're questioning the referee being a fan of a team.
Right. All right, next up, Carter.
All right. Striker for Columbus Crew, Wessam Abu Ali, is Palestinian, just joined the team. There has been some issues with some of the players wanting to show some love for their new teammate.
Right. So the main thing, so it's not even necessarily the players, but the supporters. I've seen a lot of the discourse where the fans are asking a totally valid question. They're like, can we display a Palestinian flag to show support of our new signing? And we know MLS policy is basically nothing political. Anything that that could be perceived I guess what's the word that they use? I forgot the word that they use, but that divisive or whatever. And we all see the news. We all see what's going on. But this is an interesting dilemma, an interesting problem to have of like, how do you show support for a player that happens to be Palestinian while also under this punishment is not the word, but like not being allowed to display the flag. I'm curious at what people think on how to handle this, because I think the decision of a lot of sports leagues is like, all right, let's not talk about this at all. Let nobody gets to display anything. But this is an interesting situation because they obviously signed a Palestinian player.
Yeah, it's tough. I disagree with the decision to not allow the flags. I understand why Major League Soccer does it. They're trying to avoid conflict in their stadiums, which is a valid reason. I also don't think I don't think raising a flag is really causing controversy, unless that leads to another controversy. And that's why they're doing it. It's a tough decision. I don't really like it, but I understand why they do it. It's a shame because you want to be able to support a player by flying their national team flag.
Sure.
And it's a tough situation, but at least I'm happy he's getting an opportunity here with the Crew. He's a good player, and it'll be fun to watch.
And credit to, we're going to go a little longer, but credit to at the UEFA Super Cup, because UEFA are also under a lot of scrutiny because Mo Salah, after they're posting about the Palestinian player that was killed in Gaza, and Mo Salah had posted about it, asking what happened to him, and it's just like our sports leagues. I'm just like, when they do anything, I'm just like, okay, at least somebody is addressing it. But they had at the Super Cup, they had the banners that said "Stop killing children, stop starving children." Yes. And I'm like, okay, is that? But it's like, is that too much? Is that too much to sort of ask for?
You're right, to be able to do something like that.
Right. There's no way we can just be like, not like on the fence about it. That's kind of the main thing. And
so the messaging and how they send that messaging out is extremely important.
Yeah,
I think they got it right for UEFA. They obviously can't name the countries and name the conflict, but I think we could all agree with stop killing children, stop starving children. I think that's something that I'm glad that they're shedding light on.
It'd be anybody who has a counterpoint to that. I don't even think I want to be around you.
No,
All right, Carter, what's the last one?
All right. Benjamin Šeško, apparently he's good at basketball. You guys are going to take a look at a clip, and then I just want to get your reaction.
All right, let's see this. Bro,
dude is a baller.
Manchester United? No, thank you. New York Knicks? When are you available, bro?
He'll be available soon because the United season ain't gonna go that well, so don't worry, he'll be available.
Okay. So the one thing with footballers, especially European footballers, playing basketball, we've all seen the clips. Yes. With the notorious clip of Romelu Lukaku and Paul Pogba playing and looking ridiculous. It's always they look, when they shoot a basketball, they look like they're taking a throw-in. Yeah. This is the common European basketball footballer playing basketball. That's the trope. Šeško says like, nah, dog.
Nah.
He's like, I'm gonna dunk under the legs and I'll be at the cookout. My man, I've never seen anything like this.
It's incredible. He's a freak athlete, and this video's been out there, and he's also from Slovenia, so he's got there's a little more basketball acumen there than say Belgium and
right.
and France maybe over the years, but I know he has a friendship with Goran Dragic,
Okay.
with former NBA
Yeah,
players.
yeah.
So I think he gets, but he's clearly a freak athlete.
But
and
Dragic
clearly
can't dunk under the leg.
Like, he can't do that. Dragic can't do that. Šeško's like, bro, I got you, bro. I got you. Let me show you.
I'll show you how it's done. This is one of the most this is surreal. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, it's wild.
And it's one of those if only one of our footballers played basketball. You know what I mean? Like we always do the reverse. If only my greatest athletes played. This is crazy. Shout out to Benjamin. Now I want him to do well this season.
Well, I bet he's gonna use. He's tall, right? So
Yeah.
he might have some of that basketball. He might have to box out some defenders and turn his body and be able to get on.
Bro,
he used
dunking
some of
on fools all day. This is great. I love it.
It's great stuff.
All right. I mean, we're gonna see. Maybe we see Benjamin Šeško in like one of those that Ice Cube's 3v3.
Yes, please. We need that. Soccer fans around the world need that. That'd be great.
One day.
Again, he'll be available because in United season, he'll be like, I'm gonna go play in the NBA.
All
real quick.
right. Rápido Reactions in the book. Shout out to producer Carter. All right. Let's wrap up there as well. Thank you, Stefano Fusaro, for joining us. We appreciate it. Covering for Alexis while he's on vacations.
Yeah, being a fancy guy over there.
Yeah, he's in Italy, I think now.
Fancy boy.
So good for him. All right. Is there anything you want to mention or plug before we leave?
Nah, I mean, CBS Sports Colossal Network, we're ramping up now for the season, Champions League, Serie A, and we got you covered on Scoreline with like literally all of the soccer games that you would want to see. We'll be talking about it on Scoreline all season long.
Exactly.
So that's after 5 o'clock during the week and on weekends
Is
as well.
Scoreline on it's on CBS Sports,
On
like the
Golazo.
network, or it's on Golazo.
Golazo
Okay, it's not
network,
on. So you need Paramount Plus, obviously.
Yes,
So
yes.
man, get that. You can watch Pulisic and Weah talk a lot of trash about former players as well. Watching the documentary.
That'll keep you entertained.
Make sure you follow us everywhere at Soccer Cooligans. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We'll be back on Monday. We got some fun news, especially at the end of the month. So be on the lookout for that. And anything else, Carter? Anything I'm missing? Nope, you got the thumbs up. He has a microphone, but he refuses to use it. He's like, I reached my word limit. I don't have to say anything else.
we need to do something for Merseyside Derby because we got the Merseyside pod going on right now.
Sure,
we need to do
sure.
something for the Merseyside
I
Derby.
say we get into a bare knuckle boxing
Let's
match.
do it. I like it. While we watch the game, we'll be in a bare knuckle boxing.
Sure, with our kids there, obviously.
Supporting from the side.
It's a family affair. It's gonna be a fun, lovely thing. I just hope you have a terrible season. That's all.
I hope you have a miserable season. Thank you. I don't care about my predictions. Just hope it's miserable for you.
Okay, good. Obviously, we're gonna be polite. Obviously, decorum is not gonna go away. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back on Monday with a brand new episode. Enjoy your Premier League weekend. We hope all your teams lose, and we'll talk about it on Monday. Cheers. Benjamin Šeško is going to make up, I think, a bigger impact on the court than on the field for Manchester United. But if you want to see another guy making a huge impact in LA, Son Heung-min, we talked about him in a recent video. Just click on my face if you want to watch that.
And if you want to subscribe, click on this ugly face.